killing me, Don.
Representing a business, would you use the, if you're representing a business, would you use the business address or personal address?
Use the business. Yeah, you can just leave it at the podium. You can just leave it just in case somebody else shows up.
Bring the meeting to order. Okay. You all have had copies of the minutes of the last meeting? Okay. Any additions or corrections?
I wasn't here, so I.
Okay. Yeah, motion.
Move to accept.
Second. All right. No discussion? All in favor, just raise your right hand.
I wasn't here, so I don't think I should go.
Approved. No old business, new business.
First item under new business is TMS number 1290616014323 Renault Boulevard, zoned PUD Planned Development District, owned by Francis Jean Pinion. Variance request to increase the permitted maximum lot coverage from 35% to 37% for the construction of a patio with cover and driveway expansion. Decrease the side setback for an accessory structure from 5 feet to 1 foot. An increase from a maximum 20-foot wide driveway to a 32-foot wide driveway, and increase the maximum lot width allowance for the driveway from 33% to 43% lot width. Ordinance sections 2.10 and section 7.7.1B1. As I read there in the title, There are three items to be considered as part of this variance. There's the lot coverage, which maximum lot coverage is 35%. They are requesting 37%. The side setback for the accessory structure is going from 5, or they're requesting 1 foot from 5 feet. And the driveway width, which is one that we actually haven't had before, is with the implementation of the UDO, the maximum driveway width is limited to 1/3 of the lot frontage. So by going out to 20 feet to 32 feet for the 3 parking spaces at the front, they have increased from the permitted 33% to 43% of that lot frontage. This was discovered when code enforcement went out and issued a stop work order. Work had started without a permit. The after submittal for the permit, the various variances were identified, and the applicant applied for those variances, and that's what got us here today. Staff feels that the applicant does not meet all 4 criteria and the hardship is not present. Extraordinary conditions do not exist on the property. This is a lot that is similar in shape and size to others within the subdivision. B, other property in the area do have similar lot shapes and sizes with similarly sized homes on properties. C, utilization of the property is reduced but not eliminated due to the lot coverage. Unfortunately, no additional structures would be able to be added without the variance. Due to the house being set directly on the front setback, the driveway width could negatively impact the utilization of the property. The driveway is not deep enough to park more than 1 car deep. The setback reduction would have little to no impact on the utilization of the property. It could and should have been constructed in a different location. D, detriment could be caused to other properties by the issuance of this variance on this property. By permitting lot coverage variances, the town will be contributing to the worsening of a lot coverage issue. Lot coverage contributes to the increase of runoff from properties and the speed at which the water runs off. This exacerbates the flooding issues that are existing throughout the area. Though there may not be flooding issues on this property, by continuing to approve lot coverage increases, it affects the overall area. It is unlikely that the issuance of the setback and driveway variances will have any negative impact on other properties in the area. As staff's report on that, at this time, I know the applicant is here. I'll go and get to we can go through those. I just read the staff report for you. This is the front parking situation. The brick is what was added at the front. This is the accessory structure. You have the vertical posts. I believe that is going to just be a shade sail attached to those posts to provide just some shade. I don't believe that there's going to be an actual roof on it. This is the setback currently existing. Just some pictures that I went through. And that is looking down the street towards the intersection. You can see the proximity of the driveway to that intersection. So at this time, as I said, I can turn it over to the applicant or the board if you have any other questions for staff.
But there's just a couple things that actually I just wanted to point out.
Just please state your name.
Terry Conlon. One of the things too with the lot coverage, and like references, we're all kind of learning a lot what the lot coverage concerns for the area, as many others. Many other municipalities view pavers as non-pervious or somewhat pervious, less than concrete or other things. So I think that's why the homeowners and we decided to do pavers, to try and limit some of the water runoff and that type of thing. And as far as the width of the entry and that type of thing, it is what it is. I don't think we're aware of certain limitations on that. One thing to point out too is that the neighboring property is HOA. So as far as water runoff, that type of thing, there's no buildings or no home directly beside or behind. So just thought maybe that could consideration to allowance for the lot coverage addition. It's an ROC base, so it's a crushed limestone. Anything else? Those are, I believe they're a 4x8. So, no, sorry. So yeah, that's a great point. So the driveway is 4x8 pavers, brick size. It's not mortar set, so there is sand in the joints. So that does allow for water penetration through. And it's the same with the structure too. That's travertine. The travertine is somewhat porous. It does have voids in it. And then it's also segmental, so that it's butted tight, but not sand swept as well, and with an ROC base, the crushed limestone base. So it is a gravel base underneath both structures. So water does perk through. Yeah, so there's gaps. They're what we call butted tight, but there's enough that you got to sweep a sand. We use the polymeric sand, which also and not to get off topic, but I do know we've dealt with this through different municipalities. Isle of Palms was a big one 15 years ago when I first came here, where they required pavers for driveways because of the water runoff situation on the barrier islands. And I'm seeing that come this way more too, but just wanted to point that out. That's not a concrete. It is a somewhat pervious system. Okay. Yeah.
It's already in. All of this is already done.
So that's just what we call a concrete toe. It's just troweled to hold them in place so that turning tires don't kick the pavers up. But it is segmental. Anything else?
Are based on the 37%, I think.
Yeah, on the measurements provided by the width of the driveway. There we go. So you have the existing driveway, the driveway addition, the walk up to here, the pool and surround, the patio attached to the pool, as well as to the shade area. So when you take all of the things that contribute to lot coverage, footprint of the house, the driveway, all of that existing impervious, that's what gets us to 37%.
Okay, nothing else is proposed to be added to the property.
Not at this time, and if they wanted to add anything else,
Right.
again, another variance would be required.
I could point out one thing too on top of that is the pool deck structure that's there currently. I don't know how that's calculated, Jim, but that also is on an ROC base with the travertine. So pool deck is segmental. I'm not sure how that's viewed in calculations.
I mean, at this point, we're just looking at the surface area that's presented, and that's what where this all comes from. So that's where we got up to the 37%. We do not have a detail as to how it was actually constructed. Sometimes what we can do is submit that to the engineering department and say, hey, look, this is how it was constructed. There's this type of rock on top of this, and then with the sand, and then this was on, this much of a gap, etc. If they can look at that construction detail, sometimes they can say, yeah, that's 50%, or we can consider that pervious. We don't have any of that right now. I mean, we're here for for that based on what this is and what we're working with right now. So, I mean, if we had that detail, we could potentially submit it to the engineering department, let them review it, but it's a little bit late to change that calculation at this point.
Anything else for me or?
So to be clear, Tim, all that brickwork is considered impervious here.
Yes, based on what we have here, we did not get a detail as to how it was constructed because it was being permitted after the fact. So all of this work was done before they applied for the permit. And that's why we're, we don't have any real way to, unless we actually went in and took up a cross section to figure that out and did a detail off that. So we're just going to have to assume that this is all impervious.
Green space next to the property, the HOA, that nothing will ever be built there.
No, it's not big enough to be a buildable lot.
So drainage won't be a problem.
Yeah, well, drainage is cumulative. And there's not as much issue directly here, but when you look, as you start going out, our network of drainage is getting overloaded, and everything, all the lots are contributing to that. It's not just this individual lot, and it's not, Bob's lot down the street. It comes down to the fact that all of these lots are draining to one spot, and that one spot has to convey the water from here to the Ashley River or to the Sawmill Branch, which ultimately, everything goes to the ocean. That being said, we don't have the capacity to handle the continued increase of that drainage, and allowing more and more and more lot coverage variances creates and makes the problem bigger, truthfully.
Well, I know when they built before that, when they closed off that area behind the house to the golf course, that was a big ditch across there, which was done away with. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Tim, if we don't approve this variance, will they have to pull everything out, and will that be enforced?
Yeah, what we could do is determine where 35% is, and we could request that they remove down to meet that minimum requirement. That doesn't mean that they have to remove all of it. I think without doing the math, if you carved off some of that driveway expansion, maybe even the shade area on the patio, you could probably shave 2% off of what they have covered. Or if they provided an actual construction detail, we might be able to consider it and, take a legitimate look at how pervious it is and see where we're at. So, I mean, you could separate out the variance requests and look at the lot coverage. You don't have to approve all three. You could technically look at these individually and deny the lot coverage, approve the lot width on the driveway, as well as the side setback reduction for that structure, if you so chose to do it that way.
Or my question would be, behind the house, the foundation, that 10 by 14, I guess, is that what we're talking about also? Or the only thing we're talking about is where they want to have that structure that has the posts right now,
So all of this. is
right in
controlled.
front.
Driveway, all of this patio area, and not this pool surface area. It's the
The walkway.
walkway around,
Right.
and then the footprints of the house.
Okay.
You know, are there ways to get them down to the 35%? I'm sure we could potentially get them there, probably unhappily, but I've done it before with other projects.
Is that walkway between the house and the pool, is that the same kind of surface or is it full? Describe that as trampoline as well. Pavers.
In front.
On the side of the house from the driveway back to the pergola. we would have the paper set.
So it's constructed.
Because it's just all pine straw there from like, you have that HOA property right there on the corner. And it's just full of pine trees. There's just nothing but pine straw, pine pins that come down. So, it's hard to walk, with your flip flops and stuff. The pine straw with your shoes. So I asked Express Sentiment, to place paver from where they did the driveway all the way to back to where my pergola is. So that we, avoid all that extra price. We can drop down on the property and engage in that. And then, when we got this, we went through the HOA to get the approval. And the HOA approved everything that, we submitted. The failure here was not putting the permit prior to the installation of this work. And our pool, when we have around. So we upgraded that. Right down to Pavers. We have had several months in May. Now have any issues with water laying on that side. Absolutely, we've got a letter there from Herbert.
Tim, I have a question. With regard to the driveway, it's non-conforming now because of the addition of the pavers on the side. If those pavers were converted to something like gravel, something that's totally permeable, is that something that would still be considered a driveway that would be
Yeah.
out of compliance?
The difference between the 37% lot coverage and 35% lot coverage is 225 square feet of paved area. You have a 12 by 25 pad. That's, a decent amount. If you carved, curve off of it, you could probably, that's 300 square feet. Unfortunately, you'd lose the vast majority of that. If you converted that to some sort of gravel, the lot width for the driveway would still be coming into the factor because it would still exceed 1/3. It would still be a driveway.
That's
But
what
it
I was
wouldn't-
asking. It's still
yeah.
considered a driveway.
It would not be contributing to the lot coverage.
Right.
And it would be 300 square feet of impervious surface that could be removed, bring it down, and you would be eliminating the need for that one variant.
Okay.
everybody was coming on all the time, so I was like, it's got nothing to compliment about how nice that was. I think that was great. It was over $50,000 what we invested. Plus, we have probably invested another $18,000. You know, if we could all constantly talking about land.
And I agree, looking at the photos aesthetically, it looks like it's very well done.
And I know it's not my property, but when I think about, all these issues with concrete, rain, whatever, I consider that to be part of my livelihood. I have an extra, but nothing is ever going to, that should allow for the rain that I need to have that extra.
I have one question. Does Pavers go the whole length of your house, depth of your house from the front? No, okay, when you're talking, okay. So they stop at the edge of the garage.
I've got pictures of them installing it too, if you want to see the singing and
No.
stuff like that.
No, this is good. I mean, that's not the
No,
question.
the driveway does not go all the way to my home. No, I've got pavers, and I don't know how many times. Yeah, but no, like the driveway stops. How much between the garage and the driveway? 8 feet? There's probably 6 or 8 feet left of my property. Well, you can see right there, that tree, that was Christmas tree.
Right.
Right there, that's property there. It's not covered, that my driveway goes up to my garage. You can see where it's spread out there.
Okay. Thank you.
And then right in front of the white car is where my paver. Well, I've got a sidewalk that goes part way to like my back door garage, it's my side garage door. Then there's pavers that go from there to, there's the pavers right there.
Yeah, there's stepping stones.
Yeah.
We don't count those as part of the
But I can
calculation.
see all the leaves, the pine straw, we just had to do this error.
I think this lady has it.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Live on a corner and there's a stop sign there, it doesn't mean people stop. And if they didn't have an area for people to park, they have to park in the street, you see a nice accident happen. People come around.
So, thank you. Anything else?
Tim, is there, I know you're not the engineer, but is there a reasonable chance, given what you know, that if the town engineering group looked at this, that what is there now could reasonably fall within 35%? I mean, is there a
I
reason?
don't want to speak for them. I mean, if all of this was constructed in a manner that could be considered pervious in some manner, I'm sure that we could address that. And I mean, like I said, it's 225 square feet. We have to get 2% of that lot coverage down. I don't know how they would calculate it and say, okay, so this is 50% pervious. So,
Yeah.
they're the ones who are tasked with figuring that out. That being said, probably, I mean, with proper information as to how it was constructed, I'm sure that we could probably get it to that, get it to within a range that's acceptable.
Well, I also mentioned the pine straw, the accumulation of pine straw on the side where the sidewalk is. The sidewalk goes from where the driveway the paper driveway ends, the sidewalk starts and goes to my side of my house. It doesn't go all the way back to my gate, go into my backyard. But, you know, it falls up so bad that it's actually a slip out. That's why I wanted the sidewalk, because, you know, it's older, you know, it's more of a slip hazard there too. It was one of the little bit of sun we have, shade. We have no shade in our area. It's all open. They wanted to turn it for a little bit of shade. And as Nancy was talking about that three-way stop sign, the reason we added the driveway was when we have any company come, they have to park on the street because we don't have any room in our driveway. They have to park on the street. And we have cars that come around that three-way stop sign that see all the time, don't slow down. And I'm afraid to have a car parked there because they come around that corner like no other, and there's a big park right there. So I wanted, you know, when my daughter or when my son-in-law or when I have family in, I wanted that extra parking space off the street because it's, as Nancy said, it's a very bad.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. John, have anything? Any comment?
As far as pavers go, and I know you don't want to compare any municipality to another, but I just think it might be valuable information. For years, doing pavers, and so Palms as an example, the Barrier Islands, they always gave 50% lot coverage. I know that's them, and we're dealing with something else. I think this is a newer situation in Somerville, and I think we can possibly figure things out moving forward of what's reasonable or accepted as far as permeability of the paver system. There's something that I think
Tim, we can either approve or disapprove this. Can we postpone a decision?
You can defer.
Defer.
If you'd like to do that, we could defer to the next meeting. I mean, truthfully, it's already done. The work is already in the ground, so.
That's your comment?
Well, I've got a long.
John?
No, I don't have any further comment on that. If we get to the discussion part, I mean, I make a motion.
Well, that's, well.
No second.
Okay, I move that we approve the variance on setback and approve the variance on the driveway width and defer decision on the variance regarding lot coverage, allowing the property owner to discuss it with town engineering and come back with perhaps a reestimate.
I think we should take.
Two. We're gonna need another. Yeah. Is that 4-0? Thank you. And it's not to debate right this moment. What I can say is this is all of the new development is reviewed by the engineering department to make sure that their post development runoff does not exceed their prior development runoff. It's all calculation. Now, the problem has existed for a long time, and the town has identified that issue, and that is why we are here to enforce those lot coverage limits. That's the point. That's what the zoning is there for. That's what the lot coverage limits are there for. That's why you see detention ponds everywhere, is that it's to retain and hold back the water at pre-development levels. So what it boils down to is that it's It's coming. We're going to have to deal with it. And we have a lot of work that needs to get done. And if we continue to approve lot coverage increases, it's just going to continue to make the problem worse. So, that being said, gentlemen, we do have one more item on the agenda. That's the election of officers. Yeah, it's under miscellaneous. Yes, ma'am. On second Tuesday of every month. I don't know the exact date, but February, probably February 11th. Very close. It's always very close. I'm sure they'll be in contact with me, or I will be in contact with them. All right. Election of officers, currently, Mr. Chikos is the chairman. Mr. Nye is the vice chairman. We can entertain a motion to maintain current situation, or you can entertain a motion to nominate alternatives if you so choose.